So whilst we're here, I think we need to talk about 9/11. For some of you, this is a really polarizing subject and you'll maybe dismiss it immediately. You've already turned the video off. But for those of you who've got an open mind, let's keep going. So I want to tell you about some information that's coming out of University of Alaska Fairbanks and a study done by Dr. Leroy Hulsey, beg your pardon. Now he says that he's done a 4-year study, and the team of them there has done a 4-year study on the collapse of a third tower that fell on 9/11, which is called Building 7, that many of you may not have heard about. Now this building was a 47-story skyscraper, and I just take a little bit to think about that. Think of your own home or where you live and think about 47 stories in relation to that came down on the day of 9/11 at 5:20 p.m. in the afternoon, and it fell down at 6.5 seconds. It came down from top to bottom in 6.5 seconds at the rate of free fall acceleration. Now, Hulsey has done his study, a 4-year study, and the modeling, and they've done the work, and it's been exhaustive. They've released the paper. I understand it's been peer reviewed, and it's published on March 26th, that says that building could not have come down by fire, which was the reason given by the official report in 2008, which took them 7 years to do, even though the media knew about it in advance. The BBC reported it had come down before it had even happened, 20 minutes before. The BBC weren't the only ones, but how could they have known that an unprecedented event was going to happen? How could they have known? And now we're told by an independent exploration of the event that it could not have fallen due to fire. So that in itself is a bit of a bombshell if you're not aware of that. Some of us have been aware of it for a long time, and the media has portrayed us as cranks. Now what we have to realize here is that the media hasn't reported that study, and the media hasn't sensibly reported the issue at all over a long number of years. Now there are 3,000 architects and engineers who have organized themselves into a thing called Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, and they have been pushing forward all kinds of motions and projects and lectures and information, and very rarely does the mainstream media give them any coverage, and when they do, it's usually in a way that is not particularly flattering or conducive to greater understanding of the issue in the public. So what can we extrapolate from this? What can we think? What can we make of this? What it tells me are the following things. My conclusions are that 9/11 was carried out by agencies within the US government, and people don't want to hear that, but it also means that the National Institutes of Science and Technology was co-opted. Science was co-opted to deny the truth of the fall of Building 7 and of the Twin Towers. Now we have to remember, I wanted to say this just to make it as simple as possible for people. Like, if you cut my head off now, if I was standing up, my head is not gonna fall through my body at the rate of free fall, because my body is in the way to slow it down. If you jump into a swimming pool, your body slows down because it hits the water. Now, the National Institutes of Standards and Technology accept that free fall happened on at least one of the Twin Towers and on Building 7. They were forced to accept Building 7 because they were told to by a high school physics teacher named David Chandler, who on his website, he's got a website called 9/11 Speak Out, 911 Speak Out, and then go to Nathan Flack, and on the headings you'll see Nathan Flack and its videos, and you can watch some footage of the towers that you will never see on your television. You can watch the Twin Towers be blown up in a series of explosions. It's unreal. It's unreal how anyone could watch that and think that these were not being demolished. But we don't have to think anything. I mean, we do have to always think something, but we don't have to make wild assumptions, because the scientific studies have been done. There are other scientific studies which have been done. There was a team of 8 scientists from 4 universities which did a test on the World Trade Center dust, and found military-grade explosives in every tested sample of the dust from the World Trade Center. There's also a piece of work by Kevin Ryan that was published in The Environmentalist, which shows highly energetic materials in and around Ground Zero that could not have been there otherwise. So there's a series of science. It's not just me sitting in the field telling you telling you wild stories. But 9/11 was carried out by agencies within the US government. We have to accept that. The other thing we can extrapolate from that is that the media lies to us and does not tell us the truth about what it's doing. We know that the government carries out crimes against the American people, against the people of the world. 3,000 people died in the World Trade Center. We know then from there that the government is working to a secret agenda that it does not tell the public about. It does not tell us what it's doing. And it is prepared to kill millions of people whilst working to that secret agenda. So it tells us lies so that we can back their wars and back their inhumanity. And those wars are ongoing. Let's not forget, they kill millions of people, they displace millions of people, they injured many millions more. And the media has remained silent on it. So we have a series of conclusions that we can reach. The government is working against us. It attacks us. It's basically at war with us. It declared war on us on September 11th. The governments of the world are complicit in this because they have never spoken out. And that tells me that there is a supranational government, a government that is above nations, a government that coordinates the national governments of the world. And we have to start thinking in those terms when we look at current events. And the current events we're all living in now is that we are living in a world where our air is poisoned from above, our water is often poisoned. Most of you have fluoride in your water and are you currently absorbing those kind of toxins. You have poisoned seas, whether it's with plastic or nuclear waste or the kind of waste that the military ditches in it. You have poisoned air, poisoned water, poisoned sites. You have militarized police everywhere, and they've just been given massive police state powers all over the world. You can look at an article about that in 50 headlines on the Off Guardian website, OWF-Guardian. And from there, what is the last thing I want to say? Oh yeah, the big one. We're all locked in our homes under house arrest. You're allowed out for 1 hour's exercise a day if they say so. And some people aren't allowed out for 1 hour. I'm speaking to someone in Spain. They're not allowed out for an hour a day. They're only allowed out to get essential services like food or drugs, like from the pharmacy. So not your usual recreational drugs. Like, how can you even do a drug deal in this kind of climate? You can't even have two people walking from opposite directions coming together. They wouldn't even know. Everyone would know that you weren't in the same house. So, think of the drug dealer suffering. But anyway, no, they're only allowed out of the house to go for food or supplies of one thing or another. And the police rigorously enforcing it in parts of Spain and Italy and other places. So we have to look very carefully about the world that we're living in, and we have to start looking at it very quickly, because what is happening now is a noose is being tightened, and a surveillance noose, because after 9/11 they brought in all kinds of legislation to tighten their controls over us, whether it was with surveillance or they conditioned us to be prisoners. We accepted searches, bag searches, pat downs, even just to go in art galleries and museums and things. We were accepted sporting events, pat downs, look in your bag, iris scans, intrusive scanning of your body when you're going traveling in the airplanes. So we've got some real thinking to do. And we've got to take action very, very quickly, because I think the window is closing. What I'm trying to get to, the point I'm trying to get to, is that the internet and the web, are what is the function of nets and webs. And the 5G surveillance is going to be the most intense surveillance network we've ever known. And in it will be us, in our little net and in our little web. And at the moment it's not like that. We have a chance to make a difference. We need to wake up to the way the world is, and that's what this video is about. 9/11 was carried out by government, so we have to look and extrapolate from that. If they can co-opt science, if they can co-opt world governments, if they can co-opt the press, the media, then are we being told the truth about the coronavirus? It's a big question, and I think you will start to find the answer pretty soon, even if you cannot come up with the right one now.